If you know what this is, I'll be very impressed. Shouldn't be that impressed. This was a #1 album that was nominated for a Grammy for Album of the Year. It contained at least, how many, 2, 3, 4 hit singles? I'm not sure. But judging by my hand, you can tell this is not an LP-sized album. There you go. It's Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour. This is the British EP. Okay, now stay with me on this. This gets complicated. The album, the American album version, this has 6 songs. 3 songs on per disc. There's 2 7-inch discs that came with this, and each one had 3 songs on it. In America, they said EPs don't fly, a double EP is definitely not going to fly, and your TV special is not going to be shown because it's bizarre and crap, which I'm not agreeing with. I'm just saying that's what they said at the time. So in America, the executive said, we're going to put a big, garish, yellow, red, and white border around this. We're going to add on 5 songs that were on singles that aren't on albums yet. And so that was the album they released in America, and that's the one that went to #1 here and became a huge hit and whatnot. This, I think, in England still went to #1. They did show the TV special that goes with it there, and there's a whole history that I'm not going to go into. You can look it up online about the TV special. But the music was great either way, and a lot of this was on here was started during Sgt. Pepper and after, and it's sort of, I think Mark Lewison's book about the recording sessions mentions that the day after Sgt. Pepper was released or completed, they went in and just jammed, and it was kind of amateurish because they were out of it, maybe altered mentally on substances. And he said, for the moment, it seemed the genius that had created Sgt. Pepper had eluded them. I don't know if I agree with that, but and he also characterized these sessions as unfocused. That I guess I could agree with, but there was still great music, and it took someone like George Martin to pull it all together and make a pretty great album. So this original EP has on it the title track, Magical Mystery Tour, Fool on the Hill, one of their great psychedelic, Paul's introspective work, Flying, which is a weird instrumental. There's other more interesting instrumentals in the movie, incidental music. I don't know why they didn't use those. And let's see, what else? There's I Am the Walrus, the B-side to Hello Goodbye, their big single of that Christmas. And Your Mother Should Know. I always enjoyed that one. It's very music hall. Flying, and Blue Jay Way, George, which is kind of a dirge. I never loved, but it's interesting. I like the effects on it. So you can see it's got the laminated Garrett and Lofthouse cover, like all the British EMI releases back then. And, I didn't even notice they had a blurb for the fan club. So this was the EP. In America, they added on Sgt. Pepper and Penny Lane, which had come out in early '67 as a single, which were supposed to be on Sgt. Pepper and then were taken away for a single. And those two and When I'm 64 were the first songs recorded for Sgt. Pepper. And everyone asserts that would have been an album all about childhood had those stayed, because Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields were places from John and Paul's childhood. When those were taken away, they had a new concept, which is fine. You can read all about this, as I mentioned. But they put in those 2 songs, which came out before Sgt. Pepper, All You Need Is Love and Baby You're a Rich Man, which came out as a single right after Sgt. Pepper, and then Hello Goodbye, which came out at Christmas of '67. Those were added to the American version. So all that great music, it's one of their most consistent albums. Almost all of those songs are on Beatles 1 or the Red and Blue Greatest Hits albums. And when Rolling Stone magazine compiled the 500 Greatest Albums in 2003, and then they updated it in 2012, both times they didn't include the Magical Mystery Tour. They included 11 other Beatles albums, including Meet the Beatles and With the Beatles, which are very similar. I don't know why they did both. Meet the Beatles, I think, has more impact, frankly. But they never included this one, Magical Mystery Tour. They also didn't include Yellow Submarine, which is 4 interesting songs, sort of outtakes from this era, and then a lot of other padding. So that I can see. And then Beatles for Sale they didn't include, which was their 4th proper full album. And they were clearly tired, and they relied on some covers, and Mr. Moonlight is one of the worst songs they ever did. So I can see why they didn't include that. But this they should include for all the reasons I just named. Except for Flying, most of this is pretty enjoyable. So to get to this 7-inch EP set, as you can see, it has a sleeve here. You saw on the back a sleeve for each of the 7-inch discs. And the photos in here look great because they were meant for this size. In the American version of this album, all of these are blown up and they're super grainy because they got blown up to 12-inch size. And this, I think, comes to the beginning of that. I'm not sure. But this is in excellent shape, as you can see. And I actually have the discs here. There's disc 1, or one of the discs, and there's the other. And these are stereo, which is rare for back then, for England especially. And these were the two discs, and they came in these nice black sleeves. They're in pretty great shape. And as you can see, the original price was $12.99. I'm pretty sure this is the sleeve it came in from the store. I know this is from the store I got it from. So $12.99. Here are two anomalies I've noticed. One, this has the solid center. This has this. And when these get popped out, this center part, you'll see most foreign discs that are 7-inch but have a small hole. They've got this. When this gets popped out, they're called dinked. It's been dinked. I don't know where they got that title, but a lot of people would pop this out so it could have the big hole for a jukebox, or easier to put on a record changer or on your turntable. I don't know. So I've never been able to figure out why that's that. And also, you can probably tell one is darker than the other. So this set may have been assembled from other sets at some point by the store. The store was called Spinmore in Kent, Ohio. And I've talked about that in other posts. I used to get a lot of records there. These I got on a day we had just moved to a new house, and whenever I walked into Spinmore, I would immediately grab a copy of Scene magazine, which was sort of a newspaper folded thing, came out once a week, alt weekly. They still have it now, it's called Cleveland Scene. But back then it was more about bands and things like that. Now they have a lot of investigative reporting and pop culture. It's very interesting either way. Well, I always grab a copy of Scene, which was about the size of a newspaper, but much thinner. And so on this day, I don't know what possessed me. I went in the back, flipping through the 45s. The owner was a crab, so I figured I was sort of entitled to this and get back at him. And I'd also traded them tons of stuff over the years and felt wronged, which, it's free enterprise. I could have traded elsewhere. I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I took the magazine and I opened it up next to me, and I was looking through and I was taking discs out and putting them next to me. Well, I was taking them out, I was putting them in the Scene. And when I was done, I closed up the Scene magazine and walked out. And so I had this, and the other thing I got was a British 45 of Street Fighting Man by the Rolling Stones, which is an alternate mix. I didn't realize it at the time. From 1971. It came out here in 68 with the very controversial sleeve. In England, didn't come out till 71 on a 45. And the B-side was Surprise, Surprise, which was from 1964, and had been here in an album already, but over there had never been released. And I think No Expectation. So it was really sort of an EP, maxi single, they call it in England. So I had that, and I had this. And I made off with them. And I probably shouldn't have, but it's way too late now. The store is long gone. And this has been sitting here in my shelves for years, and I still have it. And that's my story of thievery that I'm not proud of, but it did happen from that particular store. And now I've gotten to enjoy this album somewhat all these years. And the stereo mixes on this sound pretty good. The disc itself sounds pretty good. It's in good shape. And I remember as I walked out the store, I was about to turn to the owner and say, "Nothing for me today, thanks," like they did in Animal House. But it's a good thing I didn't do that, because I'd be in a jackpot.